mynews.studio.
A global promise to triple renewable energy by 2030 means building grids that could circle the planet more than 600 times. But turning a promise into actual power, that's not a simple leap.
Today is October 20th, 2025. Let's look at the numbers. At COP28, 118 countries committed to tripling renewable energy capacity to 11 terawatts by 2030. That's less than 6 years away. Does this really signal a shift in how we produce and use energy, or is it just more talk on the world stage?
The pledge actually has two parts. It's about tripling renewables and also doubling the global rate of energy efficiency improvements. What's significant is the range. The US, EU, Brazil, India, Kenya, the UAE all have signed up. That covers most of the world's energy use, united under one vision. But it's more than just adding solar panels and wind turbines. It's about storage, grids, and figuring out how we use and distribute electricity. The big question is, can the grid keep up with all of this?
That's really the crux of it. How do we know if countries are actually making progress? Take the EU. Every member state has to submit a national energy and climate plan, and the European Commission reviews these. Globally, there's the COP process and the global stocktake, designed to keep everyone accountable. Some countries have even put these targets into law. But does any of this actually force action, or is it just another layer of paperwork?
That varies. The mechanisms, reporting, peer review, legal targets are there, but real enforcement, that's complicated. If a country falls behind, there aren't many ways to force compliance. Let's talk infrastructure for a second. At COP29, 58 countries made a separate pledge for major investment in storage and grid upgrades. Think 1,500 gigawatts of storage, 25 million kilometers of new grid lines. That's enough power lines to circle the Earth over 600 times. That's a
huge scale, and it's not just the richest countries involved. You've got Pakistan, Morocco, Uruguay, Malaysia, South Korea, New Zealand, all part of this. Why include so many? Because without storage and flexible grids, renewables can't deliver steady electricity. What do you do when the sun sets or the wind goes still? Storage and grids are the backbone. Otherwise, the whole system is fragile.
Exactly. And for developing countries, it's a different set of hurdles. Scaling renewables takes funding, technology, and training. That's where international finance comes in, like the Green Climate Fund or the World Bank. They provide grants, concessional loans, technical assistance. Developed countries have promised to increase funding and transfer technology. But will the money actually get to the countries that need it most, or will it get stuck in red tape?
Private investment is also crucial, lowering risks to bring in more capital. Organizations like IRENA and bilateral deals are helping with technical training and cooperation. But the real bottleneck is often local, things like having enough skilled workers or the right regulations in place. Do these partnerships actually bridge those gaps?
National plans really show the mix of progress and complexity. Germany wants 65% of its electricity from renewables by 2030. India's aiming for 450 gigawatts of renewables and 1 million tons of green hydrogen a year. Indonesia's target is over 20% renewables by 2029, but that will cost $272 billion. Japan is supporting developing countries while working toward carbon neutrality by 2050. Some nations have firm budgets and timelines. Others are still figuring out their strategy.
The US is pledging over 80% clean electricity by 2030, backing India's targets and working to improve energy access for 35 million people in sub-Saharan Africa. Portugal is pushing for nearly half its energy from renewables by 2030 and investing in green hydrogen. Wealthy countries say they'll lead on their own systems and support others. But will they follow through? Or does this stay as talk?
For developing countries, it's not just about emissions. Kenya wants universal access to modern cooking energy by 2028. Nepal's aiming for 28,500 megawatts of renewables by 2035, including electrifying transport and industry. Bolivia is building new transmission lines, aiming for full national coverage. Zambia's target is universal urban electrification, half for rural areas plus clean cooking stoves. Nigeria plans to electrify 25 million people with solar and create 250,000 jobs. These are development goals: health, jobs, energy independence.
But the costs are massive. Can international finance and technology really keep up with this level of ambition? Or are developing countries being asked to do the impossible? That's still an open question.
And then there's the gap between promise and policy. The Global Renewable Target Tracker shows that while the pledges are in place, many countries haven't updated domestic laws to match. The renewables industry is calling for investment frameworks and regulatory reforms. Are governments moving quickly enough?
The challenge isn't just political. It's technical and economic too. Tripling capacity means scaling up manufacturing and installation faster than ever before. It means millions of trained workers, access to minerals, market reforms, and managing the transition for communities tied to fossil fuels. The Storage and Grids Pledge suggests countries understand the problem, but will that acknowledgement turn into actual progress?
This could redefine energy for the century. For the first time, there's a real conversation about moving from burning fossil fuels to using natural flows: sunlight, wind, water. If it works, countries gain energy independence, cleaner air, and new industries. Geopolitics could shift as oil loses its strategic power. But all of this depends on actually following through.
So it really comes down to this. Will political will, investment, and technology keep pace with these ambitions? Or do these pledges end up as another set of promises that aren't fulfilled? The next 5 years are crucial. This is when we'll see if it's a turning point or just another missed chance.
That's the fundamental question. Will the world actually triple renewable energy by 2030, or will we fall short? The answer will shape economies, societies, and the climate for decades.
Thanks for listening. We've unpacked the pledges, the infrastructure, the challenges, and what's at stake. This story is just beginning.
Thank you for tuning in. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now at no cost.